No one is crazy. The same world, the same economy, the same opportunities. Yet people make completely different financial decisions. Some save every dollar. Some invest. Some start businesses. Others avoid risk at all costs. So, who is right? The answer is maybe everyone. Because money decisions are not based on math alone. They are shaped by life experiences. Every person has a different story. Every journey is unique. Some people grow up with very little. They learn to count every expense. One wrong decision could put the whole family in trouble. As they grow older, security becomes their highest priority. They save money. They avoid unnecessary spending. They stay away from big risks because they know what it feels like to lose everything. On the other hand, someone else may grow up in comfort. Money was never a constant worry. They have seen that taking chances can create success. Even if they fail, they believe they can recover. So, for them, risk is not something to fear. It is a path to new opportunities. And now imagine both people are offered the same investment. Their decisions will be different. One says, "I'd rather play it safe." The other says, "No risk, no reward." Neither of them is crazy. Both are acting according to their own experiences. We often look at someone else's financial choices and think, why would anyone do that? But we don't know their past. We don't know what they have been through, how many times they failed, how many times they lost everything, or how many times taking a risk changed their life. Beliefs are not created overnight. They are built through years of success, failure, fear, hope, and experience. That is why the same financial advice does not work for everyone. What is the best decision for one person may be the worst for another. Before judging someone's financial choices, try to understand their story. There may be experiences behind their decisions that you have never lived through. Remember, money is not just about numbers. It is also about fear, dreams, hope, confidence, and life experience. Once you understand that everyone makes decisions based on their own reality, you stop judging people and start understanding them. That is the biggest lesson of this chapter. Key takeaway: no one is crazy with money. People make financial decisions based on their own experiences, beliefs, and circumstances. Before judging someone's choices, take the time to understand their story. Because behind every financial decision is an invisible life story. Luck and risk. Two people can work equally hard, yet their results can be completely different. Why? Because success is not built on effort alone. Luck also plays a powerful role. Many people believe that hard work always guarantees success. Hard work is important, but it is not the whole story. Sometimes being in the right place at the right time changes everything. Think about Bill Gates. He was brilliant. He worked incredibly hard, but he was also fortunate. As a teenager, he had access to a computer at a time when very few people did. That opportunity gave him a huge advantage. He spent thousands of hours learning, experimenting, and improving his skills. Later, when the personal computer industry began to grow, he was ready. His talent mattered, his hard work mattered, but the timing also mattered. Without that opportunity, his journey could have looked very different. The same is true for many successful people. Behind every great success, there is often a hidden element of luck, meeting the right person, finding the right opportunity, being born in the right country, growing up in the right environment. These are things no one can fully control, but luck has another side. That side is called risk. A single accident, a financial crisis, a serious illness, or an unexpected failure. These events can change a person's life overnight. Even the smartest people cannot predict everything. That is why never assume that every successful person deserves all the credit, or that every unsuccessful person deserves all the blame. Life is more complicated than that. The smartest approach is to prepare for both luck and risk. Work hard, keep learning, save money, avoid unnecessary risks, and always leave room for unexpected events. Because when luck arrives, you should be ready to use it. And when risk appears, you should be strong enough to survive it. That is how long-term success is built. Key takeaway: success is a combination of hard work, good decisions, luck, and risk. You cannot control luck. You cannot eliminate risk, but you can prepare yourself for both. That preparation can make all the difference. Never enough. How much is enough? For many people, there is no answer, because no matter how much they have, they always want more. A bigger house, a better car, more money, more success, more power. The problem is, greed has no finish line. The more you get, the more your expectations grow. What once felt like a dream soon becomes normal. And then you start chasing the next dream. This cycle never truly ends. That is why many people spend their entire lives running after more, but they never feel satisfied. A powerful example is Rajat Gupta. He achieved what millions of people only dream about. He became one of the world's most respected business leaders. He earned wealth, success, and global recognition. Most people would have been grateful. Most people would have stopped there. But he wanted more influence, more money, more status. That desire led him to make one terrible decision. He became involved in insider trading. For a short-term gain, he risked everything, and in the end, he lost everything that truly mattered: his reputation, his career, the respect he had spent decades building. One decision, driven by greed, destroyed a lifetime of success. This teaches us an important lesson. The greatest risk is not having too little. Sometimes the greatest risk is never knowing when you already have enough. Money is important. Success is important. But there comes a point where protecting what you have is wiser than chasing what you don't need. The happiest people are not always the richest. Often they are the ones who know when to stop, who appreciate what they already have, who understand that peace of mind is worth more than endless wealth. Real wisdom is not about earning more and more forever. It is about recognizing when enough is truly enough. Because if greed controls your decisions, nothing will ever satisfy you. No amount of money will ever feel complete. But when you learn to appreciate what you have, you gain something that money cannot buy: contentment. Key takeaway: greed never says, "This is enough." Only wisdom can. The ability to recognize when you already have enough is one of the greatest financial skills anyone can develop. Compounding. Imagine planting a tiny seed. On the first day, nothing seems to happen. A week passes. Still nothing. A month passes. The change is almost invisible. But if you keep watering it, protecting it, and giving it time, one day it becomes a giant tree. Money works the same way. This is called compounding. Compounding means your money earns returns. Then those returns begin earning returns too. Over time, your wealth grows faster and faster. At first, the progress feels slow. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening at all. Many people quit. During this stage, they become impatient. They expect quick results. They chase shortcuts. But compounding rewards patience, not speed. A perfect example is Warren Buffett. He is known as one of the greatest investors in history. Many people believe his wealth exists only because he is incredibly smart. His intelligence certainly helped. His discipline also mattered. But there is another reason behind his extraordinary fortune. He started investing at a very young age, and more importantly, he stayed invested for decades. Year after year, his investments continued to grow. The profits created more profits. Then those profits created even more. This cycle continued for a lifetime. That is the true power of compounding. It is not magic. It is simply time working in your favor. The earlier you start, the greater the reward. Even small amounts can become significant if they are given enough time. This lesson goes beyond money. Knowledge compounds. Skills compound. Good habits compound. Small improvements, repeated consistently, can produce extraordinary results. That is why success rarely happens overnight. It is usually the result of small actions repeated for many years. The biggest mistake is giving up too soon. People often stop just before compounding begins to show its real power. Remember, time is not the enemy of wealth. Time is its greatest partner if you stay patient, stay disciplined, and keep moving forward. Small beginnings can create remarkable endings. Key takeaway: compounding is one of the most powerful forces in building wealth. It rewards patience, consistency, and time. Start early, stay invested, and let time do the heavy lifting. 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Many people dream of becoming rich, but very few people think about staying rich. The truth is, making money and keeping money are two completely different skills. To become wealthy, you often need courage. You must take risks. Start a business. Invest in new ideas. Step into the unknown without taking chances. Extraordinary success is difficult to achieve, but once you become wealthy, the rules begin to change. Now, your biggest challenge is no longer making more money. It is protecting what you have built. This requires a different mindset. Instead of taking bigger risks, you learn to be more careful. Instead of chasing every opportunity, you become more selective. You understand that one bad decision can erase years of hard work. Many people become rich quickly, but they lose everything because they believe their success can never end. They become overconfident. They ignore risks. They stop preparing for unexpected problems. History is full of people who made fortunes only to lose them through pride, greed, or reckless decisions. On the other hand, those who stay wealthy usually share a few common habits. They remain humble. They never assume they know everything. They save even when they earn a lot. They avoid unnecessary risks. They prepare for difficult times, even during their best years. Think about it. A single mistake can destroy what took decades to build. That is why protecting wealth is just as important as creating it. Success is not measured only by how much money you make. It is also measured by how long you can keep it. Real wealth is built through patience, discipline, and wise decisions made over many years. Getting wealthy may require boldness. Staying wealthy requires humility. Both are important, but they demand completely different ways of thinking. Key takeaway: getting wealthy requires courage and calculated risk. Staying wealthy requires humility, discipline, and caution. True financial success is not only about earning money, it is about keeping it for the long run. 6. Tails, you win. Most people believe that success comes from being right all the time. But reality is very different. In life, and especially in investing, you do not need to win every time. You only need a few big wins to change everything. Think about the world's most successful investors. Not every investment made them money. Many of their decisions failed. Some companies went bankrupt. Some ideas never worked. Some opportunities turned into losses. But a handful of great decisions produced extraordinary returns. Those few successes were so powerful that they outweighed all the failures. This is the power of asymmetric outcomes. A single great investment can earn more than dozens of small losses combined. The same idea applies to business. Many entrepreneurs launch products that fail. They make mistakes. They lose money. They face rejection. But one successful product, one brilliant idea, or one life-changing opportunity can completely transform their future. Failure does not always mean the game is over. It only means the next opportunity has not arrived yet. That is why the most important skill is staying in the game. If you quit after every setback, you may never reach your biggest success. Patience is often more valuable than perfection. No one wins every battle. Even the greatest investors, business leaders, and innovators have experienced countless failures. What separates them from everyone else is that they kept going. They protected their ability to keep playing because they understood that one great opportunity could change everything. Success is not about avoiding every mistake. It is about surviving long enough to benefit from your biggest victories. Remember, you do not need hundreds of perfect decisions. Sometimes just one can rewrite your entire future. So never let a temporary failure convince you that success is impossible. Stay patient. Stay disciplined. Stay in the game, because the next opportunity could be the one that changes your life forever. Key takeaway: you do not need to win every time. A few extraordinary successes can outweigh many small failures. The secret is to survive, stay patient, and remain in the game long enough for those opportunities to appear. 7. Freedom. Why do people want money? Most believe the answer is simple: a bigger house, a luxury car, expensive clothes, exotic vacations. But the greatest value of money is something far more important. Freedom. Real wealth is not about owning more things. It is about owning your time. Imagine waking up every morning without being forced to do something you truly dislike. Imagine choosing how to spend your day, working because you want to, not because you have to. That is real freedom. Money gives you choices. It allows you to say no to things that do not match your values. It gives you the power to spend more time with your family, to travel, to learn, to create, to rest, to enjoy life without constantly worrying about the next paycheck. Many people buy expensive things to impress others. They believe luxury will make them happier. But happiness rarely comes from owning more possessions. The excitement of a new purchase usually fades very quickly. Then they start wanting something even bigger. The cycle never ends. Freedom, however, does not disappear. The ability to control your own schedule, your own decisions, and your own future creates lasting happiness. That is why many truly wealthy people value time more than money, because they understand that money can always be earned again. Time cannot. Every hour you waste is gone forever. That is why the smartest people do not spend their money only to buy things. They spend it to buy more freedom, more flexibility, more peace of mind, more meaningful moments with the people they love. At the end of life, very few people wish they had bought a bigger television or a more expensive car. Most wish they had spent more time with family, friends, and the people who mattered most. That is the greatest return money can ever provide, because true wealth is not measured by what you own. It is measured by how much control you have over your own life. Key takeaway: the greatest purpose of money is not luxury. It is freedom. When you own your time, your choices, and your life, you have achieved one of the highest forms of wealth. 8. The man in the car paradox. Imagine you see a brand new luxury sports car driving down the road. For a moment, you stop and admire it. You think, what an amazing car. Maybe you even wish you could own one someday. But notice something. Are you really thinking about the driver, or are you only looking at the car? Most of the time, people admire the object, not the owner. This is called the man in the car paradox. Many people buy expensive things to impress others: a luxury car, a designer watch, a huge house, or the latest gadgets. They believe these things will earn them respect and admiration. But reality is different. When people see those possessions, they usually imagine how nice it would be to own them themselves. They rarely spend much time thinking about the person who owns them. In other words, people are focused on their own dreams, not yours. That is why buying things just to impress others is often a losing game. The admiration you hope to receive is much smaller than you imagine, and it disappears very quickly. True confidence does not come from expensive possessions. It comes from financial security, peace of mind, freedom, and knowing you do not need other people's approval to feel successful. The wealthiest people are not always the ones who look rich. Many quietly save, invest, and build wealth without trying to attract attention, because they understand that real wealth is what you keep, not what you display. Money spent only to impress often creates temporary attention, but lasting expenses. Money invested creates opportunities, freedom, and future security. Before buying something expensive, ask yourself one simple question. Am I buying this because I truly need it, or because I want other people to notice me? That single question can save you from many poor financial decisions. Remember, people quickly forget what you own, but the financial choices you make today can shape your future for decades. Key takeaway: people usually admire the possession, not the owner. Don't spend money trying to impress others. Build wealth that gives you security, freedom, and peace of mind, not just attention. 9. Wealth is what you don't see. When people think about wealth, they often imagine luxury cars, huge houses, private jets, and expensive watches. These things look impressive. They attract attention. They create the image of success. But appearances can be misleading. Many people who look rich are not truly wealthy. They spend almost everything they earn. Their lifestyle is expensive. Their savings are small. Their debts are large. What you see is spending, not wealth. Real wealth is different. It is the money that has not been spent. The investments quietly growing year after year. The savings waiting for future opportunities. The emergency fund that protects you during difficult times. These things cannot be seen. No one can look at you and know how much you have saved. No one can see your investment account or your financial security. That is why true wealth is invisible. Imagine two people. One drives an expensive sports car, but has very little money left in the bank. The other drives a simple car, lives modestly and quietly, invests every month. From the outside, the first person looks richer, but in reality, the second person is building lasting wealth. Money that stays invested works for you. Money spent on appearances works against you. Many people chase the image of being rich. Few people focus on actually becoming wealthy. The difference is enormous. One creates temporary attention. The other creates long-term freedom. Every dollar you choose not to spend can become an investment in your future. That small decision, repeated again and again, can create financial independence over time. The wealthiest people are often not the loudest. They do not need to prove their success. Their confidence comes from what they own that others cannot see. Remember, wealth is not measured by what people notice today. It is measured by the financial security you quietly build for tomorrow. Key takeaway: real wealth is not what you show. It is what you save, what you invest, and what you choose not to spend. The greatest assets are often the ones no one else can see. 10. Save money. Many people believe that the secret to becoming wealthy is earning a very high income, but that is only part of the story. A high income does not guarantee lasting wealth. Many people earn millions, yet end up with very little. Why? Because they spend almost everything they make. On the other hand, some people earn average incomes, yet quietly build impressive wealth. The difference is not how much they earn. It is how much they keep. Saving money is one of the most powerful financial habits you can develop. Every dollar you save becomes a tool for your future. It can be invested. It can protect you during difficult times. It can create new opportunities. Money that is saved gives you choices. Money that is spent is gone. Many people increase their lifestyle every time their income grows. They buy a bigger house, a newer car, more expensive clothes, luxury vacations, and before long, their expenses rise just as fast as their income. No matter how much they earn, they never feel financially secure. One of the biggest reasons people overspend is pride. They want to appear successful. They compare their lives with others. They buy things to impress people. But real wealth does not come from looking rich. It comes from living below your means. When you let go of the need to impress others, saving becomes much easier. Your financial future becomes stronger. Saving money does not mean avoiding happiness. It means making smart choices today so you have more freedom tomorrow. Even small amounts saved consistently can grow into something remarkable over time. The goal is not to save what is left after spending. The goal is to spend what is left after saving. That simple habit can change your financial future. Remember, wealth is not determined by income alone. It is determined by the gap between what you earn and what you spend. The wider that gap becomes, the stronger your financial life will be. Key takeaway: your savings rate matters more than your income. Spend less than you earn. Save consistently. Invest wisely. And let discipline, not ego, build your wealth. Invest all your savings into a risky opportunity because it offers the highest return. The numbers may look impressive. The probability may even be in your favor. But what happens if you lose everything? Will you still sleep peacefully at night? Will your family feel secure? Will you be able to handle that level of stress? For many people, the answer is no. That is why being reasonable is often better than being perfectly rational. A reasonable decision takes both logic and emotions into account. It protects your peace of mind while still moving you toward your goals. Money should improve your life, not fill it with constant anxiety. Some investors accept slightly lower returns because they value stability. Some people keep an emergency fund even though investing it might earn more money. Mathematically, that may seem less efficient. Emotionally, it provides confidence, security, and peace. Sometimes that peace is worth far more than a few extra percentage points of return. The goal is not to make the smartest decision according to a calculator. The goal is to make the smartest decision for your own life. Everyone has different goals, different fears, different responsibilities. What feels comfortable for one person may feel unbearable for another. That is okay. Personal finance is personal. The best plan is not the one that looks perfect to everyone else. It is the one you can follow consistently for many years without giving up, because consistency almost always beats perfection. Remember, the purpose of money is not only to grow, it is also to help you live a peaceful, secure, and meaningful life. Key takeaway: the best financial decision is not always the mathematically perfect one. Choose a plan that lets you sleep peacefully, stay consistent, and build wealth without sacrificing your peace of mind. 12. Surprise. People love to predict the future. They study history. They analyze the market. They examine economic trends, and they believe they know what comes next. But the truth is very different. The future has always been full of surprises. No one can predict every event. No one can see every crisis, every opportunity, or every sudden change. History is a great teacher, but it is not a perfect guide to the future. Every generation faces challenges that no one expected: financial crashes, global pandemics, wars, technological revolutions, artificial intelligence, new industries, old businesses disappearing overnight. Very few people saw these events coming, yet they changed the world forever. That is why building a financial plan based only on the past can be dangerous. The future will always include something that has never happened before. The smartest people do not try to predict every surprise. Instead, they prepare for uncertainty. They save money. They build emergency funds. They avoid taking risks that could destroy everything. They leave room for mistakes, unexpected expenses, and difficult times. Preparation is far more valuable than prediction. Imagine driving through heavy fog. You cannot see the road far ahead, but you still wear a seatbelt. You keep a safe distance. You drive more carefully. You prepare for what you cannot see. Life works the same way. You cannot control every surprise, but you can build a life strong enough to survive it. That is the real goal of financial planning, not perfection, not certainty, but resilience. The people who succeed over the long run are often not the ones who predict the future correctly. They are the ones who remain prepared when the unexpected finally arrives. Remember, the biggest events that shape your future are often the ones no one saw coming. That is why humility, preparation, and flexibility are among the greatest financial strengths you can have. Key takeaway: the future will always contain surprises. Instead of trying to predict everything, prepare yourself for uncertainty, because resilience, not prediction, is the true key to long-term success. 13. Room for error. Life rarely goes exactly as planned. No matter how carefully you prepare, something unexpected can happen. A job loss, a medical emergency, a business failure, a market crash, or an economic recession. These events arrive without warning. That is why the smartest people never build a financial plan that depends on everything going perfectly. Instead, they leave room for error. They understand that mistakes are part of life. Unexpected expenses are normal, and uncertainty can never be eliminated. Imagine walking across a narrow bridge. Would you feel safer if the bridge had strong railings? Of course, those railings may never be needed, but if something goes wrong, they could save your life. Money works the same way. An emergency fund is a railing. Savings are a railing. Insurance is a railing. Avoiding too much debt is another railing. These protections may seem unnecessary, when life is going well. But when difficult times arrive, they become your greatest strength. Many people make plans based on best-case scenarios. They expect steady income, constant growth, perfect health, and no surprises. But reality rarely follows the best-case scenario. The future is uncertain. That is why your financial plan should survive. Even if things go wrong, the goal is not to predict every problem. The goal is to build a life that can withstand unexpected setbacks. Successful investors do not survive because they never make mistakes. They survive because they always leave room for mistakes. They keep extra cash. They avoid taking risks that could destroy everything. They prepare for outcomes that most people never consider. This mindset creates confidence, not because nothing bad will happen, but because you know you are ready if it does. Remember, the strongest plans are not the ones that work only in perfect conditions. They are the ones that continue working even when life becomes difficult. That is the true meaning of financial resilience. Key takeaway: always leave room for error. A good financial plan does not require a perfect future. It prepares you for an imperfect one. Because survival, not perfection, is the foundation of long-term wealth. 14. You will change. Who you are today is not the same person you will be 10 years from now. Your dreams will change. Your priorities will change. Your responsibilities will change. Even the things that make you happy may be completely different in the future. Yet, many people make financial decisions as if their future self will always think exactly like their present self. That is a dangerous mistake. Imagine a young person who believes they will work day and night for the rest of their life. Years later, they may have a family, children, different goals, better understanding of what truly matters. The life they once imagined may no longer be the life they want. That is normal. People grow. People learn. People change. The problem begins when we make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings, buying more than we can afford, taking on unnecessary debt, choosing a career only for money, ignoring our future needs. These decisions can become heavy burdens when our priorities change. That is why the best financial plans leave room for flexibility. Do not lock yourself into a life that your future self may not want. Keep your options open. Save money. Avoid unnecessary obligations. Give yourself the freedom to change direction when life changes. Flexibility is one of the greatest forms of financial strength. It allows you to adapt without panic, to make better choices without feeling trapped. Many people believe success means never changing their plans, but real success often comes from knowing when to adjust them. Changing your mind is not a sign of weakness. Sometimes it is a sign of wisdom. The future will surprise you. Your experiences will shape you. Your values will evolve. And that is exactly how life is supposed to work. Remember, the goal is not to predict who you will become. The goal is to build a financial life that gives your future self the freedom to choose, because the greatest gift you can give to your future is not certainty. It is flexibility. Key takeaway: you will change. Your goals, dreams, and priorities will change too. Build a financial plan that is flexible enough to grow with you instead of trapping you in decisions made by your past self. 15. Nothing's free. Everyone wants high returns. Everyone dreams of becoming wealthy, but very few people ask what the price of that success really is. The truth is, nothing valuable comes for free. Every reward has a cost. In investing, that cost is often uncertainty, fear, patience, and emotional pressure. Many people love hearing stories about investors who earned huge profits, but they rarely see the sleepless nights, the market crashes, the doubts, the years of waiting, or the moments when it seemed everything was falling apart. Every great return comes with a price. Imagine buying a ticket to enter an amusement park. You expect to pay before you enjoy the rides. No one complains about paying the entrance fee because they know it is part of the experience. Investing works the same way. Volatility, temporary losses, uncertainty. These are not punishments. They are the entrance fee for long-term returns. Many people mistake this entrance fee for a penalty. When the market falls, they panic. They sell their investments. They quit just before the recovery begins. They lose not because their strategy was wrong, but because they refused to pay the emotional price of staying invested. Successful investors understand that discomfort is normal. They know there will be good years and bad years. They accept that uncertainty can never be removed. Instead of running away from temporary fear, they stay patient. They stay disciplined. They trust the process. Life works the same way. Every meaningful goal requires sacrifice. Learning takes time. Building a business requires failure. Creating wealth requires patience. Nothing worthwhile comes without effort. The key is not to avoid the cost. The key is to understand which costs are worth paying. When you see temporary uncertainty as the price of long-term success, you stop fearing it. You begin to accept it as part of the journey. Remember, great rewards are never free. They always ask something in return. Those who understand this truth are the ones most likely to succeed over the long run. Key takeaway: nothing valuable comes for free. High returns always have a price. Treat uncertainty, patience, and temporary setbacks not as punishments, but as the entrance fee to long-term success. 16. You and me. It is easy to look at someone else's success and think, I should do exactly what they did. But money does not work that way. Every person has a different life, different goals, different responsibilities, different dreams, and most importantly, a different timeline. Someone who is 25 years old can take risks that a person near retirement simply cannot. A business owner thinks differently from an employee. A parent makes different decisions than a student. None of them are wrong. They are simply playing different games. One of the biggest mistakes in personal finance is copying someone else's strategy without understanding their situation. You see someone making millions from a risky investment. You try to do the same thing, but you forget that their goals, their experience, and their ability to handle losses may be completely different from yours. The same investment can be a smart decision for one person and a terrible decision for another. That is why comparing yourself to others is often dangerous. The stock market, business, real estate, or any investment should match your own goals, not someone else's. Your financial plan should fit your life, your income, your responsibilities, and your future, not the lifestyle you see on social media, not the advice that worked for someone else. Success is not about winning someone else's race. It is about reaching your own destination. Move at your own pace. Take risks that you can understand. Build wealth according to your own values, because the only financial plan that truly works is the one you can follow with confidence for many years. Remember, your journey is unique. Your destination is unique. So, your decisions should be unique too. Do not copy someone else's map when they are traveling to a different place. Create your own path. Stay patient, stay focused, and let your financial choices serve your own future, not someone else's. Key takeaway: every person has different goals, different risks, and a different timeline. Never copy someone else's financial decisions without understanding their situation. Build a plan that fits your life, because your journey is yours alone. 17. The seduction of pessimism. Bad news travels fast. Good news often goes unnoticed. Every day we hear about wars, economic crises, market crashes, inflation, and uncertainty. These stories capture our attention. They make us feel that the future is getting worse. But there is an important reason for this. Bad news is dramatic. It spreads quickly. It creates fear. Fear is powerful. Our brains are naturally drawn to danger. Long ago, this instinct helped humans survive. Today, it also makes us pay more attention to negative headlines than positive progress. The problem is that constant pessimism can distort our view of reality. Yes, markets crash, businesses fail, recessions happen, but history also shows something else. Innovation continues. New companies are created. Technology improves. Living standards rise over time. People solve problems. Economies recover. And long-term investors are often rewarded for their patience. Real wealth is rarely built overnight. It grows slowly through years of steady progress. That progress is not always exciting. It rarely makes headlines, but it is what creates lasting success. Many people become too afraid to invest or pursue opportunities because they believe the world is always about to collapse. They wait for the perfect time. That time usually never comes. Successful people do not ignore risks. They simply refuse to let fear control every decision. They understand that setbacks are temporary while progress can last for generations. The future will never be perfect. There will always be challenges, but there will also be opportunities. The key is to prepare for difficulties while continuing to believe in long-term progress. Remember, pessimism gets attention. Optimism combined with patience and discipline builds wealth. The greatest fortunes have been created by people who kept moving forward even when the headlines were full of fear. Key takeaway: negative news will always feel more convincing, but long-term success belongs to those who stay prepared, remain patient, and believe in steady progress despite temporary setbacks. 18. When you will believe anything. When people feel desperate, they stop looking for the truth. They start looking for hope, and that can be dangerous. When someone is under financial pressure, they become more willing to believe promises that sound too good to be true. Double your money. Guaranteed profits. No risk. Get rich quickly. These words sound attractive, especially to someone who is struggling. Desperation changes the way people think. Instead of asking, "Is this real?" they begin asking, "What if this is my only chance?" That single thought has caused millions of people to lose their savings. A famous example is Bernie Madoff. He promised steady, high returns with almost no risk. Thousands of people trusted him, not because they were foolish, but because they wanted to believe that such an opportunity could exist. For years, his investment business appeared to be successful. People saw others making money. Their confidence grew. More investors joined. Everything looked perfect. But behind the success was one of the biggest financial frauds in history. Eventually, the truth came out. Billions of dollars disappeared. Families lost their life savings. Dreams were destroyed. The lesson is simple. The more desperate you become, the easier it is for someone to manipulate you. Scammers understand human emotions. They know that fear, greed, and hope can be stronger than logic. That is why they promise certainty where uncertainty should exist. Real investing does not guarantee extraordinary returns. Every investment has risk. Every opportunity has uncertainty. If someone promises huge rewards with no downside, that is a warning sign, not an opportunity. The best defense against deception is patience, knowledge, and skepticism. Ask questions. Take your time. Verify the facts. Never invest simply because everyone else is doing it. Remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Protecting your money is often more important than chasing unrealistic returns. Key takeaway: desperation makes people believe promises that logic would normally reject. Stay patient. Question extraordinary claims. And remember, there are no guaranteed shortcuts to lasting wealth. 19. Altogether now. By now, you have learned many powerful lessons about money. Each chapter taught a different idea. At first, they may have seemed unrelated, but together they form one complete picture. Money is not just about numbers. It is about behavior, psychology, patience, humility, discipline, and good decisions made consistently over time. You learned that no one is crazy with money. Every person makes decisions based on their own experiences. You discovered that luck and risk always exist side by side. Success is never the result of hard work alone. You learned that greed has no finish line, and that knowing when enough is a sign of wisdom. You saw how compounding can turn small beginnings into extraordinary wealth if you are patient. You learned that becoming wealthy and staying wealthy require completely different skills. You discovered that a few great decisions can outweigh many small mistakes. You realized that the greatest gift money can buy is freedom, not luxury. You understood that people admire possessions, not owners, and that real wealth is often invisible. You learned that saving matters more than showing off. That peace of mind is often more valuable than perfect mathematics. That surprises will always happen, and that every good plan needs room for error. You learned that your future self will change, that nothing valuable comes without paying a price, that your journey is different from everyone else's. You discovered that pessimism often sounds more convincing than optimism, and that desperation can make people believe dangerous lies. Each lesson stands alone. but together they create a timeless philosophy for building wealth and living a meaningful life. The goal has never been to become rich overnight. The goal is to build a financial life that is stable, resilient, and peaceful. Money should serve your life. Your life should never serve money. At the end, financial success is not measured only by the size of your bank account. It is measured by your ability to make wise decisions, remain calm during uncertainty, protect your future, and enjoy the freedom your money creates. Remember, wealth is a journey, not a destination. Keep learning, stay humble, stay patient, and let every financial decision bring you one step closer to the life you truly want. Final takeaway: the psychology of money is not about getting rich quickly. It is about thinking wisely, acting patiently, avoiding unnecessary mistakes, and making decisions that create lasting freedom, security, and happiness. 20. Confessions. After sharing all these lessons, there is one final question. Do these ideas actually work in real life? The answer is they do, but only if you live by them consistently. The author does not claim to predict the future. He does not believe he is smarter than everyone else. Instead, he follows a few simple principles that help him sleep peacefully at night. One of them is staying out of unnecessary debt. Debt can be useful in some situations, but too much debt takes away your freedom. It creates stress. It limits your choices. That is why the author prefers a life with fewer obligations and greater peace of mind. Another principle is living below your means. Just because you can afford something does not mean you should buy it. A simple lifestyle creates financial flexibility. It allows you to save more, invest more, and worry less. The author also believes in long-term investing rather than constantly trying to beat the market. Instead of searching for the next perfect investment, he chooses low-cost index funds and gives his investments time to grow. He trusts patience more than prediction. He accepts that markets will rise and fall, but over the long run, discipline usually wins. Most importantly, the author does not try to become rich as quickly as possible. His goal is something much greater: financial independence, the freedom to choose how to spend his time, the freedom to say no to things that do not matter, and the freedom to live without constant financial worry. These habits may not look exciting. They rarely make headlines, but over many years, they quietly build lasting wealth. That is the central message of this book. Wealth is not built through perfect predictions. It is built through simple habits, repeated consistently for a lifetime. Remember, you do not need to be the smartest person in the room to become wealthy. You only need the discipline to follow good principles year after year. Final takeaway: lasting wealth comes from simple habits, patient investing, living below your means, avoiding unnecessary debt, and staying consistent for the long term. True financial success is not about being brilliant. It is about being disciplined.